From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us true believers for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for March 2024, and this month has started off beautifully. So spring has sprung, not to speak too early, but I don't see us getting cold again. And spirits are up. Everybody seems happy coming into the store. There's lots of great books that have been coming out at the end of February, and everybody seems excited about comics again, which is wonderful because we hit a little bit of lull back there at the beginning of the year. For book club, we're doing one of my favorite books. It's a recent book. It's the current number one volume of the new John Constantine Hellblazer. The first volume is called Marks of Woe. I am a big Hellblazer fan. Hellblazer got me back into comics after college when I started reading comics again, and Hellblazer was really my thing. And then since then, it's kind of gotten off track. It's gotten more. They tried to bring him into the New 52, and he got a little watered down, and it wasn't so good. But now he's back, and this is the John Constantine that I know and love. So it's great. Cy Spurrier and Aaron Campbell have done a great job, and they did two versions, and then they just started Volume 3, which has been spectacular. So we're doing Volume 1 for book club, and that is going to be on Friday, March 29th? And then for the month, because I'm really hoping that this series will kickstart Vertigo again, that I'm doing a spotlight on all Vertigo graphic novels. Now, they're not all marked Vertigo anymore because they've changed it to Black Label and stuff, but we know what the Vertigo books are, and we'll show you which ones are the good ones to read. So that's what's going on here at the store. We had the Comics Pro meeting at the end of February, and it was in Pittsburgh, and it was great because it kind of tied it into the store. One neat thing was that there was a representative of a product called Squishables, which are these stuffed animals. And they didn't want to take everything back with them, so I got to buy their display for a good price. And so now I'm carrying their products, and you'll see them all over the store. I have a big order that's coming real soon. So they're the little guys that are behind me, and you'll see them. I'm sure Dave will show them around as he continues filming this week. Another neat thing was I was on a tour. They do a bus tour of the stores when they come to town, and they check out all the local stores, and I got to be on the tour this year. So we had a bunch of stores. I think it was like 60 different retailers came through the store to take a look, and one of them was a good friend of mine, Kelly Dowd, who has a store up in Calgary. And he came by and he saw the camera. He's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And so he let me interview him. So that was great, being able to talk to him and get some conversation with him. And I also had time to talk to Ed Brisson and Matthew Rosenberg, who were here for the signing, and we had a great little talk. So those will be coming up later on the show, so stay tuned. But it's a really big month of books, so let's get right to it. And starting off, here's what's coming from Marvel Comics. Starting off, the big book of the month is Ultimate X-Men #1. This is by Peach Momoko. The Ultimate line has been doing incredible so far with 2 issues of Spider-Man and the first Black Panther, and now we have X-Men coming. Hisako Ichiki is a teenage girl who just wants to live a normal life, go to school, hang out with her friends, ignore the political strife broiling over after the events of Ultimate Invasion. But life has other plans for her. In Japan, urban legends have sprung to life and brought some unusual new powers with them. Meet Armor, Mayhem, and a group of new Ultimate X-Men, the likes of which you've never seen before. We also have the Spectacular Spider-Men #1. That's right, Peter Parker and Miles Morales are going to team up on the regular, comparing notes and using said notes to take on some of their most dangerous bad guys. This duo is better than dynamic, amazing, sensational, superior. They're spectacular. We also have Jackpot and Black Cat. The most exciting new hero in the Marvel Universe, Jackpot, aka Mary Jane Watson, gets her first action-packed limited series as a superhero alongside the other best female character in comics, Black Cat. When someone blackmails Black Cat in a public and blatant crime spree, Jackpot comes to her aid. What classic spider villain is behind the blackmail? We also have a new Ghost Rider #1. Who is the new Spirit of Vengeance? Johnny Blaze was bonded with the spirit of vengeance. Unwilling to be a monster, Johnny used this demon from hell to do good as the Ghost Rider. But heroism isn't what the rider was meant for. So who will be the new spirit of vengeance, and what will it mean for the Marvel Universe? We also have a new Ms. Marvel book, Mutant Menace, also written by the actress who plays her on the TV show. Ms. Marvel has officially come out to the world as a mutant and a member of the X-Men, and she's about to learn just how hard things can get for the mutant kind. Kamala Khan is used to being a hometown hero. There's no way her community would turn on her just because she's a mutant, right? We also have Black Widow and Hawkeye #1. Even when Black Widow and Hawkeye had no one to trust, they still had each other, even though their paths sometimes diverged. So when Clint Barton is accused of a rogue assassination attempt that puts the US and Madripoor at odds, a symbiote-equipped Natasha Romanoff thinks nothing of coming to his aid. But as echoes of their past ripple into the present, it will take all their faith in each other and the lessons learned along the way to protect their futures. We also have a Web of Spider-Man #1. 2024 is primed to be one of the biggest years in Spider-Man history, and you've only seen the tip of the iceberg. In the pages of this one-shot, we're going to lay out some of the biggest upcoming Spider stories and characters in the Spider-Verse through the beginning of 2025, and you aren't going to want to miss this. So Symbiote Spider-Man 2099. Set your time circuits ahead to the techno-dystopian future of 2099. Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099, is facing a hostile takeover of his own body. Kron Stone, the Venom of 2099, wages an all-out assault on Alchemax, and the only hope of stopping him lies within the power awakened by a top-secret project gone terribly wrong. What must Miguel sacrifice to seal the bond with his new symbiote? His body? His mind? His very soul? We also have Weapon X-Men #1. In original X-Men, you saw the Phoenix recruit the young X-Men to fix yet another time-displaced disaster. But now the threat is deadlier than ever, and it's time to call in the X-Men's big gun. He's the best there is at what he does, in every universe he does it in. And his job is too big for just one of him. Wolverines from across the multiverse converge to take on a foe even the Phoenix fears. But with friends like Zombie Wolverine, who needs enemies? We also have X-Men Forever #1. Haunted House of X. How can you kill a digital god? What do you do when the Phoenix is bleeding out into nothing? There's been questions that have haunted you since the end of Immortal X-Men. Finally, some answers. There's also been some questions that have been around since the start of Immortal X-Men. Finally, some answers too. Tying directly into the pages of the epic Fall of the House of X and Rise of the Powers of X. We also have X-Men '97. The official prelude to the hotly anticipated Disney Plus show. The X-Men are back, and the 90s have never looked better. Discover what Storm Jubilee and the rest of the beloved 90s X-Men cast have been up to in the time before their return. Startling revelations here lead directly into the hotly anticipated new series. We also have Miles Morales Spider-Man 18, which is also issue 300. Miles Morales is in for the fight of his life. Rabble has stepped from the shadows of gang war for a rematch, and she's sworn bloody revenge against Brooklyn's Wallcrawler. But this time, Rabble's out-of-control powers and desperation have her poised to obliterate far more than just Spider-Man's life. We have some facsimile editions. We have Amazing Spider-Man 254, Secret Wars 3, and Wolverine #1, the regular series. We also have Aliens What If #1. What if Carter Burke had lived? So the twist on this, it's written by Paul Reiser, who played Carter Burke in Aliens. For years, fans of James Cameron's legendary Aliens questioned whether Carter Burke, a company man more hateable than the Xenos themselves, had actually survived the traumatic events of the terraforming colony Hadley's Hope. Now the actor behind the beloved villain, Paul Reiser, joins his son Leon and more for a journey back to Hadley's Hope and a twisted escape of a man who should have died. Lastly, from Marvel, we have a new Star Wars book, Jango Fett #1. A bounty to find, a mystery to solve, and a treaty at risk. Now, what do we have coming from DC? Okay, coming in March from DC Comics, we have Suicide Squad Dream Team. When Amanda Waller makes her move to seize ultimate power in the DCU, nothing will stand in her way, not even the future. Spinning out of the events of Beast World comes the story of Dreamer, the precog Dreamwalker who has run afoul of the most power-hungry villain in DCU history. With a superpowered hero who can see the future on her side, is Waller's Suicide Squad finally unstoppable? Join Harley Quinn, Bizarro, Clock King, Black Alice, and Deadeye for the fight for DC's future. We also have Batman Dylan Dog #1. See how the fates of Batman and Dylan Dog intertwined in the past through their lethal nemesis, the Joker, the clown prince of crime of Gotham City, and Professor Zabaris, a mad genius with a taste for bringing the dead back to life. Joker is in London to seal a hellish pact with Dylan Dog's nemesis, the Mephistophelian Zabraxis. The doorbell of Craven Road #7 screams, and beyond the doorway, Bruce Wayne appears. For the Nightmare Investigator, an incredible adventure begins side by side with the Dark Knight. They'll have to forge an uneasy alliance, putting aside their differences in order to successfully confront and defeat an evil that comes from the past. We also have Batman Dark Age. This is by Mark Russell and Mike Allred, spinning out of the Superman Space Age book. Meet Bruce Wayne, Gotham's favorite delinquent son. In an origin story like no other, witness the boy become a Dark Knight shared by a city in turmoil as it marches towards the prophesized doom. Set against the backdrop of actual historical events, Gotham comes alive, filled with the iconic characters who've loved and hated Batman over the years like you've never seen them before. We also have the Ape Rill special. Gorilla Grodd's recent incarceration in the pages of Flash has left a void that Monsieur Mala is more than happy to fill. Ape-sembling a group of DC's most sinister simians, Mala forms the Legion of with an eye towards domination. But the world won't be conquered that easily. Enter the all-ape Justice League. Can this team of hero anthropods be the salvation we need, or will Mala's team of maniacal monkeys bring forth the ape-apocalypse? It includes a banana scent variant cover. We also have some facsimile editions. We have Detective Comics 411, the first appearance of Talia al Ghul, in the limited collector's edition #51, which is a treasury-sized collection of the Ra's al Ghul saga. Now on to Image Comics. So coming from Image, the first one is Feral #1. This is by Tony Fleece of Stray Dogs fame and Trish Forstner. A new horror series from the creators of Stray Dogs. Meet Elise, Lord Fluffy Britches, and Patch, 3 indoor cats lost in the not-so-great outdoors during a nightmarish rabies outbreak. Without their humans to protect them, the cats rush to find their way home before they're eaten by the forest full of rabid beasts on their tails. Don't get bit, don't get scratched, don't become feral. Also from Rick Remender and Bengal in his new Giant Generator imprint, we have Napalm Lullaby, an all-new ongoing dystopian epic with a special double-length first issue. A child with an unimaginable power is raised to believe he is a god by a cult of zealots utterly confident in the moral authority of their religion. The magnificent leader has imposed his will on humanity and created the ultimate theocracy. Join them or be cast out to suffer with the masses. We also have The Last Mermaid. A lone mermaid roams the endless wasteland on a quest beyond reason. To press ever onward, she must survive the interminable stretches between tiny pockets of water, the roaming bands of cybernetic cannibals, and the fearsome mutant beasts. What propels her forward to take such a risk? We also have a new Salmon Twitch Case Files. This is written by Todd McFarlane. Your fan-favorite detectives are back in their new ongoing series. A tale of murder, intrigue, and deception in this noir crime drama. We also have Under York #1. New York's destiny is written in its depths. Allison Walker is a promising young painter in Manhattan, but she has a secret. She's also a witch, and she and her family belong to the world of Under York, a mysterious underground New York where 5 powerful clans of witches have reigned for centuries. These families, with their strict codes of life, draw on the country's main communities and practice magic as powerful as it is dangerous. For generations, they have been hunted and persecuted. Today, they secretly influence life on the surface and its inhabitants. Their revenge is to participate in the destiny of a world that has banished them. And this is the universe to which Allison Walker grew up, the universe she fled and doesn't want to hear about anymore, until fate catches up with her. Now on to Boom. We have a new one, I Heart Skull Crusher #1. 18-year-old Trini will do anything to compete in her favorite sport, screaming paintball, alongside her longtime hero, Skullcrusher. But she can't do it alone, and a gaggle of misfits is just what she needs to cross the American wastes and battle in Queen Mob's deadly tournament. With Trini's dream of being just like Skullcrusher on the line, do she and her friends have what it takes to win a coveted spot on their team? And we also have a new one, Man's Best. Homeward bound on an alien planet, Man's Best follows 3 emotional support pets living on the Starship Horizon, a spacecraft searching for a new planet to house a humanity compromised by bad decisions and corporate corruption. But after the ship crashes and their crew is captured, these loyal pets are their owner's only hope. Outfitted in outrageous mech suits, these 3 best friends must traverse a hostile world to rescue their owners, leaving them the only hope for a humanity that might not be worth saving in an adventure threatening to tear their friendship apart. We also have a new Dune book, House Corrino. Now on to Dark Horse. We have Dudley Datsun. This is by Scott Snyder and Jamal Igle. A rollicking sci-fi adventure story about a boy, his dog, and a machine that controls time and space. What could go wrong? Have you ever wondered why all the great figures in history had a pet companion, and if they were all running from the same mysterious threat? Such questions have never crossed the mind of Dudley Datsun, a 15-year-old with a penchant for invention. But when dastardly foes turn his world upside down, Dudley is going to have to start facing things beyond his wildest imagination in this modern-day fable. We also have Monsters Are My Business by Cullen Bunn. Meet Tanner Grits Grisham, along with a shrewd necromancer who wants him dead and a chainsaw-wielding koala bear named Cuddles, as he wages a bloody war against nightmares from beyond time and space. It's a thankless work, but someone has to do it. And when a group of government contractors go missing in the nightmare landscape of the flooded zone, Grits stumbles into a mystery that he might not be able to carve his way out of. And then we also have Operation Sunshine, Already Dead, the second installment of the humorous horror and action-packed series that's Near Dark meets Ocean's 11. A ragtag group of young alienated vampires head down to the swamps of Florida to disrupt a nasty ancient vampire party and put into motion Operation Sunshine. Their plot to steal a magical object that can turn themselves back to human and put an end to all the elder vampires once and for all. IDW is giving us a new Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series and a new Star Trek series, Sons of Star Trek. Now on to the rest of the companies. Ahoy Comics is bringing back another Wrong Earth. This one's called Dead Ringers. Ahoy Comics is bringing back another Wrong Earth. This one's called Dead Ringers. Archie is giving us another Chilling Adventures presents Pop's Chocolate Shop of Horrors. This one's Fresh Meat. AWA gives us his new one, Little Black Book. A hard-boiled neo-Western thriller. Cole, a straight arrow handyman, finds himself in the crosshairs of a ruthless crime syndicate, along with his pregnant wife. But what is the meaning of the little black book of underworld contacts Cole's deceased father has hidden in his home? Cole's father believed the best thing he could do for his son was to stay out of his life. But does that apple fall far from the tree? Ablaze gives us a neat one, Torpedo 1972. This is drawn by Eduardo Risso. In the 1930s, Lucas Torelli, known as Torpedo, was a legend in the suburbs of New York. A tough, trigger-happy Sicilian who only knew how to make friends. Anyone else is no longer here to say otherwise. Nearly 40 years later, the Big Apple has changed quite a bit. Torpedo, not so much. As a persistent journalist prepares to write an article about the Caputo family, the demons of Torpedo's past resurface, along with his dirty old habits. Distillery has a new one, White Boat. This is written by Scott Snyder and drawn by Francesco Francavilla. White boats are the mega yachts that the super rich use to traverse the globe, floating islands where your every desire can be fulfilled. And getting invited on board one should be a dream come true, until the crew traps and transports you to a remote island where secret cults have existed for millennia, working on something called the Human Project. Does the white boat ship you to paradise or sink you into hell on earth? Oni Press has a new one called Night People. From literary icon Barry Gifford, Night People is a pulsing roadmap of the American subconscious where neon-lit southern nights give way to lipstick, sweat, and blood. And the odd, innocent, and evil are all fellow travelers in an interstate of dark, elusive dreams. And then lastly, from Vault, we have a new one. It's called Deathstalker, written by Slash from Guns N' Roses. The cult cinema hero Deathstalker bursts into comics from an all-star lineup of creators including Slash and Tim Seeley. Deathstalker finds himself once again caught between forces larger than himself, including a virgin-worshipping cult, a sorcerer hell-bent on saving the world through mad science, and the pissed-off army of the Abraxan Kingdom, not to mention his ex-lover, Princess Evie. Monsters, magic, and mayhem abound. Can't a guy just swing his sword anymore? So that's what we have as far as new comics coming. Stay tuned for the interviews with Ed Brisson and Matthew Rosenberg and my friend Kelly Dowd. And as always, thanks for watching. Hey, we had a fantastic signing here today, and with Ed Brisson and Matthew Rosenberg, and we just wanted to ask them a couple questions. So, prolific writer, you have a ton of stuff from Marvel. You just at AWA, you got your brand new Boom book. What got you into reading comics?
I got into reading comics when I was a sick kid in the hospital. I feel like there's a whole generation of kids who grew up in the 80s who ended up in the hospital for one reason or another and had a stack of comic books dropped off to keep them out of trouble, and that was me. So I started reading them in the hospital, and then my mom would go to a used bookstore once a week, and I would go through the 10-cent bins and spend my $2 allowance on 20 comics once every 2 weeks.
Yep. Remember that. I always wanted, there was an issue of X-Men I wanted desperately, but I was going through the 3 for $1 bin getting a full run of Metal Men, and I'm like, I'd just rather have the Metal Men than that one issue of X-Men. So
For me, it was Captain America. I think it was like 312 through 315. I can't remember what it was. I had the Marvel Universe books, and there was 3 issues of Captain America where something like 60 villains die. And I remember knowing about it, but not knowing what happened. And I was obsessed with finding this. Just even as a kid, I wanted to see that many bodies being dropped in a comic.
Nice. Especially in a Captain America book.
Yeah.
Punisher book maybe, but not Captain America. And so right now you're writing The Displaced, coming out from Boom, set in Canada of all places.
It's actually set in my hometown, the city I grew up in, Oshawa, Ontario. It's a book I've been working on since 2008. It's an idea I kind of came up with back then. Had a couple.
You're really mad at your hometown.
No,
and you
it's not even
to go
that.
away. Okay.
It's just a weird feeling of disconnection with my hometown every time I go back. There's I left there when I was 14. I go back every couple of years, and there's feels like every time I go there, I'm looking for something, but I'm not sure what that thing is I'm looking for. I can never put my thumb on it. And the initial idea came from that sort of feeling of disconnection and trying to find that thing, which was really driven home when I was about 30 and ran into a guy I went to elementary school with who we were pretty tight for a little while. And I went up to him because, I hadn't seen him in years, and he had absolutely no idea who I was.
Oh, wow.
Like just zero recollection of our time in elementary school. And so there's a lot of that in The Displaced as well.
Nice. And you're also writing Punisher Predator that just came out. What got you into Predator, or did it just bring you an idea?
I'm a huge Predator fan.
Okay.
I grew up a Predator fan. They contacted me, sometime in 2020 to say that they were getting the rights to Predator and would I be interested. And it was the fastest I think I've ever turned around a pitch for something. I think I had the pitch to them within 24 to 48 hours. Largely, I used to, as a kid, it was never called fan fiction back then, but when I was a kid, I used to do a lot of writing, and I wrote a lot of Predator stories. Any horror or horror-adjacent film franchise was not safe from my fan fiction, and Predator was one I had done a lot, and there are little like germs of ideas that came from like 12-year-old Ed.
Okay, great.
Writing this fan fiction.
Awesome. What got you into reading comic books?
When I was a kid growing up, my older brother read comics, and he told me, like older brothers do, don't ever touch my comics, don't go near them. So, of course, they were the coolest thing in the world, and he would go out, and there was nothing protecting them, and I would go and read, and he was reading X-Men, and I remember the Dark Phoenix saga stuff, and I could barely read, I was really little, and I had no idea what was going on, but I knew that it was the coolest thing ever.
Yep.
And so I became obsessed with it. But actually, I grew up in New York City, and there was a comic book shop on my block. And so it was the first place that I was allowed to go on my own because my mom could watch me from our apartment cross the street, see that I didn't get run over, and then I was safe. And it was the first place that I, could spend my allowance because it was the first place I could go. So comic shop has always been like sort of home adjacent to me.
Nice.
So yeah, I just never found a love as much as comics. So
Yeah, first place I ever drove when I got my license and could drive by myself was to the comic book shop.
awesome. Yeah.
So right now you're still doing, what's the furthest place from here? You have a Batman book. I forget which one.
Well, I've just finished the Joker, and I had a story in the Brave and the Bold, Batman Brave and the Bold, with Matteo Scalera. It's the Batman Black and White. And then the next thing I'm doing at DC is the next volume of DC versus Vampires.
Okay, that's where I saw your name.
yeah.
Because they just announced that.
Yeah, they just
Yep.
we're just talking about it. And Batman, who died in the first volume, will be back in the new volume. That's all I'll say.
I'm very happy that's continuing because I was loving it and I didn't love how it ended. I'm like, you can't end the story
we
like
knew
that.
we knew early on they were like, you're going to do more of this, but we solicited as 12. So, and Otto Schmidt, who drew the book and is amazing, and I did Hawkeye Freefall with. He's a genius and he's amazing, and it takes a long time to draw things that nice. So he needed to catch his breath, and so yeah, we took a little break, took a breather, and we're coming back this summer with more, and I'm very excited about it.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thanks for talking.
I adored Task Force Z.
Oh, thank you so much.
So much. It's one of the, like when I would tell people I was liking what DC was trying out at the time, because they seemed to be going like a little weird. I love the weirder stuff like that, like when they brought Doom Patrol back, scratch my itch so bad. But thank you for that, and I loved your Joker series, especially because the one that came before. I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I had a little trepidation because I loved the first series. And I'm like, okay, this is a different team. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
So we are having fun. This year, Comics Pro came to Pittsburgh, and today all the retailers decided to come on the bus tour and came to my store, including Kelly Dowd from, was it Red Skull Comics? That is correct. Calgary, Canada. Calgary, Alberta?
Alberta.
There we go.
It's on Edmonton Trail, but that's the confusing part for most people.
But I've known Kelly since my first year in Comics Pro, which was like, 2011, I think?
Well, we're celebrating 20 years this year.
Yeah, but I haven't been a member the whole time.
Okay.
But how was this year's show?
I think it was fabulous. The energy in the rooms were great. People were enthusiastic, and everybody's been talking about the industry and how well it's doing. And I think there's the positive things to come out of it.
Yeah, I think we're doing well. The news was good. The energy was great. As always, it's fun seeing our friends once a year. So I'm not getting out to your store.
Well,
until the next show.
It is like a nice break for us to, I guess clear our heads, and then we think about different things. It's kind of like we get outside of our sandbox, because when we're in our sandbox, we're too busy playing.
Yeah. It's just nice to a little recharge, a little break, and some ideas, which is always good. Some fresh ideas. So, thanks for talking.
Hey, thanks very much for having me. It's a great store.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, the website's pittsburghcomics.com, Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics, Twitter and Instagram are PGH Comics. So come on down and say hi, come visit my Squishables, because they're everywhere and they're multiplying, but they're really super cute. So thanks for watching.